What's up, guys? So I'm at the Middletown Mall. I'm showing you the sign here for round 1 bowling because I came here with Christina to do some bowling, have some fun today. And I'm carrying my cold steel spike neck knife, and the kid behind the counter who was ringing us up for the bowling was staring at it the whole time he's talking to me, and then he asked me if it was a real knife. I said yes, it's a real knife. He said, well, I can't let you be in here because the mall has a strict policy against weapons. So I told him it's not a weapon, it's a tool, and he didn't really know what to say. And then of course Christina doesn't want a problem, so she asked me to just go put it in the car, and that's what I just did. Has no concern at all with that, which of course you guys know is another knife. Had no concern at all with the pocket knife. Let's see, the pocket knife I have. It's just because I'm blatantly carrying it in the middle of my chest, it becomes an issue. Now, I bowled here probably 6 times. Always had a neck knife, never an issue. Just one of those things. But I play ball because I want to have a nice time with my wife. So not only can I not have my gun, which makes me feel weird to begin with, I can't have my neck knife. But I still like to have some fun, so here we go. All right, so I made it inside. We pretty much have the place to ourselves, and I'm having fun, but I'll talk about this more later, only because of the music. All right, so I am home. I just wanted to elaborate on what happened there, kind of give you the story behind the story. So Christine and I decided to go bowling, right? We want to go bowling, but we also had some errands to do. So we ultimately decided to go to New York State. Middletown, New York has a nice large mall. There's a lot of shopping in the area and stuff, but they also have a bowling alley that's in the mall, right? Round 1 is kind of an entertainment, place. It's, as you saw from part of the video there, it's a lot of arcade, and they happen to have a bowling alley. There's like 18 lanes or something. Very, cheap in comparison to other bowling alleys that we've gone to, as well as it's usually pretty dead there. Not a lot of people. So we thought it'd be a good idea and wanted to have some fun, right? So when I walked in the building with her, had the bowling ball bags in hand and everything, walked up to the counter, saw the guy behind the counter. He's probably 18, 19 years old. Never seen him there before. We've gone here a handful of times, and there's been other employees I've seen. Never saw him before at all, so he was new. And when I'm walking up, he's staring at the neck knife, right? This is the cold steel spike. It is clearly a knife, around my neck. Some neck knives are smaller, maybe not quite as noticed. The different shapes, like the Leduc, doesn't really look like a knife at first glance. A couple other ones I have, they don't really get as much attention. This gets a lot of attention because it looks like a knife. Now, I have tons of people who look at it, tons of people who stare at it, like literally stare at it like I, have my balls hanging out of my shorts or something. It gets a lot of attention, but it's pretty rare people even say anything. Because I don't know, people just don't want to start any trouble, or who knows why. So people usually just stay quiet, and I just catch them staring, right? So he's staring at it, and I'm like, hey, we're here for some bowling. And before he even gets into anything, he goes, is that real? And I said, yeah. And I really did not give any thought to it. I suppose, in hindsight, if I said, no, it's not real, I'm just a big doofus and carry a giant fake knife around my neck, then maybe I wouldn't be telling you this story at all, because nothing would happen. But I said, yeah, because I'm an honest dude, and I answer questions honestly. So is that real? Yeah, it is real. Oh, the mall has a real strict policy against weapons. And so, without even thinking, my immediate response was, well, that's good, because this isn't a weapon, it's just a tool. Now, when I said this, I heard Christina sigh out loud. Because she's like, dude, don't get into this. We're there to have a good time. We don't want to, start anything, have any problems. Certainly don't want to get kicked out of the mall. I will say, married life is very different than single life. Had this happened 10, 15 years ago, who knows, I might have gotten arrested for having a giant argument with someone, getting into a fight. At the very least, maybe making a video of me getting kicked out of the mall. But keep in mind a couple things here. Number one, I've been to this mall so many times, never had a problem, always had a neck knife. Always. I've even passed mall security where they've looked at my neck knife, and I was prepared to say something if they were going to say something, right? Never did. Mall security didn't care. This was just a kid who maybe he was uncomfortable with it, or maybe he was trying to do me a solid. Honestly, maybe he wasn't intimidated by it or anything. He just didn't want me to get in trouble. Whatever the reason was, he wanted me to go put it back in the car, right? Or to leave. So my knee-jerk reaction obviously was to get defensive and, you know, try to, I mean, I was getting with the whole spiel, and, you know, honestly, when I heard Christina sigh, I just said, all right, fine, I guess I'm going to give in. Now, also keep in mind that I carry a gun everywhere I go. However, I will tell you, I carry it legally. That means when I go to New York State, it is not inside my waistband where it should be. I absolutely hate the laws. I hate the fact that I can't legally have my gun with me. I have it in my vehicle because I'm allowed to pass through the state with the gun. It's not really going to help me in a situation, but it makes me feel better than not having it at all. But I'm already feeling naked, quote unquote naked, because I don't have my gun that I'm so used to having, right? Having a bunch of knives on me makes no difference, right? So at this point, I have no gun, and now he's telling me I can't have my knife, so I'm very irritated, very irritated. However, as soon as I heard Christina sigh, I didn't want to get into it. I want to have a nice time with my wife, right? So I said, all right, I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm just going to make this kid happy and just go, right? Because he would have called the mall security, and mall security would have came down, and they have a policy. I can't disagree with the policy. I cannot like it. I should say I can disagree with it, but I have to abide by it, right? I have to. Otherwise, I can't shop there. I don't have to shop there, right? You don't have to like the laws, but you do have to follow them. You don't have to shop places you don't like their policies, but you do have to follow them. Anyway, to avoid a scene and an argument in which I can't win, because I can make my points and everything, but policy is policy, right? So I don't have to shop there. I don't have to go and bowl at their facility. If I don't like their rules, I don't have to use their services, right? That's what it comes down to. I'm not right. I can argue and I can be logical, but I'm still not right. So instead of ruining the day, I decided to take one for the team and just go put the knife back in the car. But as I'm walking back to the car, I'm just contemplating things and I'm just stewing, you know, in my head because I'm frustrated. And as you saw in the video, I still have two knives on me. I have a pocket knife on me, which you didn't see, didn't care about. I always have a pocket knife as well as a neck knife. And in this case, I also have a knife that's on my keys that's, you know, clipped to the belt loop of my pants. You know, but he didn't see it. I'm broadcasting by having a giant knife on my neck. I'm broadcasting, hey, I have a knife. Whereas obviously in the pocket or concealed, no one knows, no one's the wiser, right? But because I'm married, I actually do consider my wife's feelings. I consider my actions that directly affect my wife. For example, totally unrelated. If I'm in the car and someone cuts me off in the car and I get into a road rage situation, right? And I crash the car, that's not just on me. That is on my wife as well. We are a partnership. Everything that I do, everything she does affects us as a couple, right? So these are things that go through my mind these days. It's a little different when you're single because you're responsible for yourself, right? And then obviously, you know, once you have kids, there's a whole nother layer of responsibility. Your actions affect your entire family, right? So all this stuff like flashed in my head, how the whole day is going to be completely ruined and my wife's going to be pissed off at me and I'm not going to get to go bowling or have fun or get these things done. So in the moment, I said, fine. You know, under my breath, thought, you know, all kinds of stuff. Probably said some stuff on the way out as well to myself. But ultimately, you know, 15, 20 minutes later, I calmed down and I had a great time. Unfortunately, without my gun and without one of my knives. Anyway, the point of the video and the reason why I'm kind of making this and sharing this with you guys, telling you this whole experience, is to say sometimes it's just not worth going against the grain. Sometimes you just got to play ball. You got to just put your head down and agree. You don't have to like laws. You don't have to like policies. But this is just the world we live in. You can't always be happy. You know, maybe that's the problem with society is everyone's trying to be happy all the time. And when they're not happy, they complain about it. That's just unfair. That's just life. Sometimes life is unfair. It was unfair that I go into a different state, that I was not allowed to have my gun. Then I walked into a mall where I was not allowed to have my knife. I think it's dumb and ridiculous, but guess what? I played ball, had a good time. Now it's over with. I know some people disagree with that. Some people do carry guns where they're not supposed to, figuring, well, hey, if I have to save my life, You know, better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. Did you ever hear that one before? And although part of me really does agree with that and wants to do that, it's just never worth the risk. I'll tell you a quick story of someone I know who lost their carry permit, and it was the dumbest thing in the world. They live in Pennsylvania. They have a concealed carry permit. They were concealed carrying just like I do all the time. And they hopped just over the border, like literally 1,000 feet over the border to get some gas cheaper in New Jersey. All right. And while they were over there, they got into a fender bender. Okay. Someone pulled out in front of them. The other driver was at fault. Right. So the cop comes to the scene. When the cop came to the scene, they're technically in New Jersey, even though you could throw a rock back into Pennsylvania. That cop saw the bulge on the side of the person I know. All right. Asked him if he had a firearm. He said, yes, I have a concealed carry permit. The cop looked at him dead in the face and said, not for New Jersey, and he arrested him. He suffered massive consequences because he committed a felony on accident, right? He was so close to home, just wanted to get some cheap gas, never in a million years thought that he would get into an accident and have a cop come over and see that he has a gun on him, right? But that costed him big time, all right? So I'm very conscious of the laws. I do abide by them, and I think it's very important. Now, of course, I'm far from perfect, all right? I've had things I should not have had certain places just because I kind of forgot where I was. That has happened before, but I try very hard to, you know, be conscious of all the laws and make sure that I'm following them. For me, it's just not worth taking the chance. And again, I know some people disagree with that, and that's totally cool because I get where you're coming from. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have a similar story, if you got kicked out of somewhere because you had your gun on you or a knife on you or something, I'd love to hear the story down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.